Come on in.
Hi.
Hi. We got to take a photo.
A little rough. Well, it's nice to see you guys again.
Yeah, my name's Mike.
Layne, nice to meet you.
I'm Brad. Good to meet you, Nick.
Layne, nice to meet you. Well, how are you guys this afternoon?
Good. Beautiful weather.
Yeah, it is really nice out.
Before the snowstorm.
I know, it keeps tricking you like that fall spring, it keeps on coming back.
Yep. Kind of ready for spring, so not to start dealing with all the frost and get things
Yeah.
moving.
No, I'm ready for spring too. I'm ready for the one last thaw. Let's get rid of all the snow.
Yeah.
I don't want any more.
Yep, absolutely.
But yeah, getting started. So just coming from our last meetings, I want to make sure I have just your main concerns kind of in the forefront, just things that anything you've thought of since our last meeting about what you need or what you're kind of concerned about, any new projects coming up, anything like that.
Oh, I think the biggest one we got coming up is down here at the hotel, trying to get the parking lot expanded. But obviously we got some water issues we got
Yeah.
to deal with. So that's what I'm hoping maybe be able to help us out a little bit on kind of figuring out a solution. I know we got our ponds back there and kind of provide some drainage, and right now it's kind of about the only place we have to go for a parking lot. So we got to
Yeah.
figure out how we handle
Absolutely.
that storm drainage
Yeah.
storage. So
We'll want to get something in plan before we do get our final last thaw, kind of get a plan for
Yep.
what we can do for that. Do you mind if I take notes while we're in here?
absolutely.
Okay, so kind of what I was thinking, we do have a new line called Storm Tech, and it is pretty much basically specifically for parking lots under roadways, specifically for that, creating a strong base under that foundational level of concrete and just, you know, especially in places like Nebraska where weather is crazy and we have floods and droughts and tornadoes and everything, you know, we don't want roadways washing out, we don't want loose soil or erosion affecting that or anything. So it really does just create a strong base, and it either retains, or it's a retention or a detention system basically with the water. So it either retains it and slowly lets it back into the ground. Otherwise we can set up a system so it'll flow to another place where it won't cause any problems with the parking lot. You know, we don't want that cement to crack or anything like that. Especially in these next few years, you know, you want it to be good and stable for a long time.
Absolutely.
So that was the main kind of thing I was thinking, but
Well, so what kind of system, I guess, how big a system is it? I mean, made of, what's it, what we all got?
yes, so the system can be completely customizable depending on what size you're thinking under the parking lot. There's all kinds of different sizes of the chambers. That's what they are. So it's a chamber system. So we'll put in wherever you like in the parking lot, just a drain, a big metal ugly grate. It'll go down into the system, and the first system is the isolator chamber. So in that chamber, it gets rid of either the sediment or the trash. It's what cleans out the water. So it's a big old chamber made of a strong kind of polysynthetic hard material, kind of a hard plastic. And then the bottom has a layer of material that just filters, lets that actual water filter through and keeps those sediments in there. So the water can either stay in there and, like with the retention, slowly trickle down into the soil. Otherwise, with the detention, we have other chambers next to that main isolator chamber. And the water will flow through, and it can either be held in that, and then, you know, depending on what kind of weather we have going on, it'll be set kind of the flow level at what rate the water will come out at a different spot somewhere else on the property where it's not going to cause problems in that parking lot. So that's the main system. Is it'll come down through a grate, go through that main chamber, and it'll filter through that water. And then that water will go either through the rest of the detention or the rest of the retention system.
So I mean, you know, the pond that we got back there, you know, it's a fairly decent sized little pond that, you know, most of our lots and everything drain to right now. I mean, obviously, you know, we get some good sized rains here in central Nebraska and during the summer. I mean, how much, I guess, what's the storage capacity of this system?
And that kind of depends on which chamber size you go with. We have a lot of varying different levels. We can go pretty small if you just need a little bit of storage under there, or we can go really, really large. So it just depends on what you need. But yeah, we have a size for pretty much every
What's it
need
made
or
of?
parking lot. I'm not 100% sure. I can definitely get back to you on that. I know it is like it's a really hard plastic. I know it's kind of a bright neon yellow. It's very bright. I'm not 100% sure what it is all made out of, but I can get back to you on that one.
No structural issues by dealing with traffic over the top of it,
No.
trucks, so on and so forth.
Yep, like I said before, we've had no problems with it. It's been under parking lots, roadways, everything like that. It is a very strong material, and especially with a parking lot, you know, we're not expecting super, like there will be heavy traffic probably over it, especially while the new part of the parking lot is being built, but it'll withstand that weight of whatever trucks or, you know, everything you've got going on in there while that new parking lot's being built.
So do you have an idea how deep into the ground you have to go with this system? Because I mean, if you're gonna be below the frost line.
Yep, it'll have to be below the frost line, you know, just like these crazy weather days we have where today it's 40 and we're gonna have a snowstorm tomorrow, just making sure that we don't have any problems with those pipes. So it'll have to be below the frost line just to make sure we don't have any problems like that and have to, you know, get something cracked in there and have to replace it quickly. So
I didn't, the only other question I had is, I would like more details on the weight retention above that, because we do have truckers in there. And you know, some of them sometimes carry fairly heavy loads.
Yeah.
And they're parked in there.
yes, and I can definitely get back to you with specifics on that. If we come to kind of what size you're looking for specifically for that parking lot, I'll get those specific weight retention amounts for that specific chamber you're looking at or size.
So do you base the chamber size on the size of the parking lot and the water capture? Is that what you're basing that on?
Yes, like the size of the chamber is based on how much water will fit in there. So you could have a really tiny chamber and a really big parking lot, especially, you know, if you're in a drier place, you don't need that much storage down there for the retention or detention. But here in Nebraska, you may just want to go with the bigger size. You'd rather be safe than sorry.
So
yeah.
when we're going through the design here, I mean, do you guys provide some engineering support as we go through? Because I'm sure, you know, other civil engineers are going to start looking at it. You know, they might be a little questionable, like, oh, this is a pretty new product. I mean, I think we're definitely going to want some of that engineering support.
Yeah, definitely. We definitely do have engineering support. Any kind of questions you have, like I said, I don't know all the answers, and those would definitely be the guys to go to for those certain questions, but we can definitely, any kind of support you need with it, definitely engineering support. We do have some other solutions that kind of go along with the storm tech and are also fairly new. One of my favorite ones to talk about is green infrastructure. So I think it's something super cool to talk about, especially in a place like Nebraska, which is such an agriculture and kind of nature state. It adds a little bit of beauty to your parking lot maybe, and it's native plants or flowers or things like that that just add a little bit of filtration, natural filtration before it gets to that big tank of water or anything like that. Well, the chambers do most of the filtering out of the large sediments or trash or things like that. You know, the flowers add a little bit of beautification, especially in your parking lot or things like that, where it could just maybe not be quite as bit of an eyesore.
So in regards to the sediment traps, on average, what are we talking, like we'll have to have them pumped out once or twice a year? I mean, is it like a septic tank? What are we doing here?
It'll kind of just depend on what you've got down there. If it, you know, really is a pretty clean parking lot, that for mostly it's just kind of a little bit of debris, leaves, things like that. So the way you clean it out is it's like a vacuum truck will come and they'll put the head of the vacuum in there and just kind of drag it through the chamber. And then the vacuum truck will just suck everything out of there. So it's not too bad of a process. It really.
So you don't have to worry about the other chambers, just kind of just that first one that you really have to worry or
I'll have to
concerned
get
about.
back to you on that. I do believe it is mostly the first chamber. That is where most of, they call it the isolator chamber, just that's where most of everything gets filtered out. I do believe it's just that main chamber, but I will get back to you on that
So
one.
what about accessibility? Like it's pretty, I mean, it's a pretty big pond we have back there, so it's going to be a pretty good sized unit. I mean, or is it just gonna be like a giant manhole or like, what do we?
It's basically just like a pretty regular storm drain, just grates, a big rectangle with grates across it. That's usually what we do. If there's something else you're looking for, we can look into that too with the engineers, but most commonly we just do a pretty standard drain that you'll see in a lot of parking lots.
Has this been installed anywhere locally lately or?
Not locally. I don't think so. We are kind of fairly new. I know we do have a distributor rep in the area. I don't think he's out of Kearney. I think he's somewhere in Nebraska, but like I said, it's a fairly new product. I don't think there's anywhere else in Kearney that has a system like that, but we are growing. The system was founded and started in Europe, so we're spreading a lot and growing as we've made it across the states, but it's a really cool system. It works really well. You know,
What's the life expectancy?
I'm gonna have to get back to you on that. I don't know off the top of my head. Like I said, sorry,
No,
I'm gonna jump in. It is fairly new, so it kind of depends on the climate and things like that, but yeah, I'll have to get back to you on that one.
Who does the install? Do you guys perform the install for us, or as we start kind of figuring out the schedule? I mean, obviously, you know, the hotel down there wants us put in, or the parking lot down here this fall yet, so we obviously don't have a whole lot of time, but I mean,
Yeah.
So do you guys perform the install, or do I have to go out and find someone else to get trained to do this, or?
It's really a pretty simple process. We don't do the install, but I can definitely get in contact with the distributor rep for the area and kind of let him know. I know there are some businesses in town that are somewhat familiar with it, and we can definitely have somebody come out and maybe install it with them, and that would be, you know, a good thing for their business too, getting more versed with this product. But it is a fairly simple product. The way that the chambers come, they just come in large sections of them, kind of stacked onto each other. So they are fairly simple to install and put together, but we can definitely get you some help with that and get that figured out.
So just for my clarification here, so you're repping, right?
I'm the manufacturer rep. Yep.
Okay, so the company that produces the product's not gonna install it,
Mhm.
and you're not gonna install it, obviously. So then who, is it up to us to have to find somebody to install it?
Like I said, I'll get in contact with the distributor rep in the area. I know he has some contacts and some businesses that he's been working with to get more familiar with the product in the area.
Here again, just another question. So when it's installed, if there are issues with installation, then it's on us to have to find out who did something wrong, I guess, for lack of a better word.
I mean, you can let me know, especially with the product being so new in the area, and I will get the distributor, whoever you had it installed, I will be on the phone with them, getting that figured out for you. You know, I don't want you to be the guinea pigs or feel like you're just out in the wind out here, so I will definitely be in contact with you guys, making sure the system is up and running, and it continues to do so.
Do you have any references by chance of some previous installs that we could maybe go check out and talk to, see how happy they've been with the product since they've had it?
Yeah, not off the top of my head. I'll definitely get those back to you. I can give you a call or send you an email with those references. Like I said, there's nothing really in Kearney yet, but I do believe we have some in Omaha or Lincoln that if you want to make that trip, I can definitely get you in contact with them. And
Okay.
So what kind of lead time are we talking about? Because we're working with actually 3 different people. We'd be working through you and whoever we would have install it, plus whoever manufactures it. So what kind of lead times are we talking about here? Because it's getting kind of a long tail on it.
it's a pretty quick lead out just because, like I said, with the system, the dimensions that we have for the chambers, we do have a lot of them just ready to go. And they'll hold up just sitting in the warehouse. So we do, once you pick that size, it'll be probably a week, maybe 2, and we'll get it out here for you at the longest. But yeah, it really shouldn't take too long to get it out here. And like I said, I can have either the distributor rep or somebody help with that install.
So it gets out here, but we still have to bird dog it, somebody to install it.
Yeah, and I can definitely help with that too, but yeah,
But we don't have anybody in this area we know of that's installed.
not here in Kearney, no.
Does it require a lot of training to figure out how to install? So if I wanted to say I want to get Midlands up there to figure out how to perform an install, I mean, is it something that it's a quick, easy training, or they have to fly to Europe to figure out?
No, absolutely not. It'll be a pretty quick and easy training. We want it to be accessible to everybody and a product that, you know, is easy for everybody to use. And if we gotta fly everybody to Europe, we're probably not gonna be doing very well with them. I wouldn't fly to Europe to learn how to do it, so.
EPA, no issues,
Nope.
since are draining into the rivers and.
Yeah, no, the EPA, there's no issues with the EPA in that aspect. And like I mentioned with the green infrastructure, there are some grants and the EPA is really encouraging that green infrastructure. So if that is something that you're looking into or interested in, that's definitely another road to look at.
So you mentioned something earlier on about some filtration, catching sediment before it goes in the river and stuff like this. Is it a serviceable filtration, or is it just kind of when it fills up full of sludge, we get the septic guy out here and pump it out? I mean, is it something where we have to maintain filters?
That is something that I'll have to check on. I don't really think it is like a filter that you would have to replace. Because the way that it filters is more of a geosynthetic fiber, I know, on the bottom, just kind of filtering out those big pieces of trash, rock, sediment and stuff. I don't believe it's like a filter and you shouldn't have to replace it. I will get back to you on that though, just to be 100% sure, but it should mostly be just kind of that vacuuming out of the trash and sludge and leaves and stuff in there.
Thanks, I think, you know, for the owner, I think they want a long lasting, you know, easy to maintain system. Because I mean, otherwise, I don't think they get a 7-inch rain some night, there's a wedding, I don't think they want to call the septic guy down here pumping while the bride and the groom are walking through the parking lot. So.
Yeah, no, that's definitely something that can be monitored, and you know, you don't want that in the middle of a wedding or some kind of big conference or something important going on at the hotel. So definitely that's something that can be monitored and make sure that it's scheduled out.
So you mentioned it can be monitored, but is it, who's gonna monitor this? Is it the hotel when they start waiting to the parking lot, they decide it's not draining quick? Or is it, I mean, how do?
I think a sensor or something in there that goes off or gives them a notification on their phone.
I will have to get back with the engineer on that. I'm not sure if there's a sensor in there, you know.
Or is that an option that can be added?
Yes, that might be something. I'll have to get back with the engineer on that. I'm sure there is something that we could put in there probably that would sense at what level of debris is in the chamber. So I'll have to get back with the engineers and give you a call about that. But yeah, I'm sure there's something that we could put in there without having to wait till the parking lot's flooding or something like that. Yeah.
Cool. Any questions?
No. You have a flyer or anything?
I do not have a flyer with me or anything today. I just, nope.
So I think what we need to do is probably schedule another meeting.
That sounds good.
With some more detail.
Yes, absolutely. Get some specifics on those dimensions and I'll get back with my engineer and ask about the sensor and everything like that. Do you have any more questions or anything you'd like me to come ready with next time?
I think that the lead time issue and understanding who we're gonna have to subcontract with and all that, we need to have pretty clear understanding of that.
Next, I think as we begin to schedule this out and buy the project out, we need to make sure we don't have any gaps on our end, because if we do, then I get to eat it, so.
Yeah. I want you to eat it. I'll definitely come back with these as concrete answers and get back with those people and make sure I have those answers for you guys for next time.
Fantastic.
Cool.
Okay, well, that's all you've got.
That's all I got.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.